This is Señorita Sabrosura. Welcome to Sabrosura Vinyl channel. I'm here today to celebrate Nine Inch Nails, the Downward Spiral 30th anniversary, and I'm joined by Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and
Hey,
Jay and Rock and Metal Reviews. How are you guys?
good.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining me. We're here to talk about this album that it just turns 30 years. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Hey. Yeah.
Well, this is a great concept album. Uh, and for me, it's an album that it still sounds fresh, that it still sounds new. Uh, it's timeless. And we're doing something different. We all know our first impression. We all know that we love this album. I would like to ask you guys, what is your best memory with this album?
Should I start?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah. My first memory with this album.
Or your
Well,
best.
well, well, I've had some fun listening to Closer, but that wouldn't be my first memory of the album. I remember my first memory of this is watching MTV. I think it was 120 minutes back in the 90s, and seeing. I think the first video I saw from them wasn't actually Closer. Was March of the Pigs that I saw it. And first of all, I felt like I thought Trent Reznor looked cool because he was like skinny, super like white and black hair, and I had like almost the same skinny. And where's that? So I felt like, oh, I could be Trent Reznor, like 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 it spoke to me, and I liked it because it was like. This was the first time that I was introduced to industrial metal. So I didn't listen to before this. I didn't know what industrial metal was. So I knew there were bands before this, but Nine Inch Nails was my first band introduction to this. And after that, obviously, I discovered Pretty Hate Machine and this. But this was my introduction to Nine Inch Nails. Was this album in 1994? I didn't buy it when it came out. Actually, it took a while for me at the beginning to get used to it. I was like, this is like too abrasive and weird. So at first I wasn't that down to it. But so yeah, my initial memories is like watching that on MTV and then and thinking like, this is like very different and kind of dangerous. It felt like something different. So yeah, those are my like the earliest memories that I remember from this album.
Nice. What about you, JC?
Okay, I remember I bought this, I think maybe a few months after it came out, because I remember we were talking about Soundgarden, that one I bought like right away, but this one I think I found later on. I knew about the band because I liked the song Head Like a Hole. That was from a couple of years ago. I like that one. And I was into industrial metal because I was a big fan of Ministry when they had their Psalm 69 album that came out, I believe, a year before this, if I'm not mistaken. And I was a big fan of Ministry. So when this one came out, I remember watching the music videos and I liked it. I decided to buy it. And it was an album I used to listen to it a lot. Like I never really got into like the concept of it, but I thought like I just liked the original songs. Their music videos were pretty cool. They're like very different,
Yeah.
and it was just I think it's just a really good album. There's a lot of great songs we'll talk about in the next round. But I think this is kind of like most people would probably like say like their favorite album from the band. But I think it's really good. I used to listen to it a lot back then, like because I really like the industrial music.
Nice. Yeah, I remember discovering them too, with MTV, and then the controversy that the video was banned, and then it was like heavily edited to put it on MTV back. It's like I wanted something like that, and one thing I like, it's very harsh and abrasive. It's very dark, but it never sounds like mechanic or robotic. Like it sounds complex and human, and it had that anger that I like as a teenager. And
Yeah.
what about your favorite tracks, Hector?
My favorite track. So I have this on vinyl too, but I left it at home because I'm like, I'm not gonna, we don't need to show the all the vinyls. Of course, Closer, we all know that I have a memory, but it was my first memory of Closer. I think a lot of people, it's a sexy song. That you can use, like it depends on the mood, and but I think I love Heresy, where says like God is dead and no one cares. Like
Yeah.
if this is a hell, I will see you there. And actually, I think I have the same vinyl as you. You have it has on the inside, it tells the concept, the story. I remember reading that fully, and I think I like the album more now as an adult. Yeah, because when the insert, it gives you like a huge booklet, because I think Trent Reznor, yeah, and it gives you the whole story of the process. I think they recorded that album, if I'm not mistaken, in Louisiana, or
Oh
no,
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 this was
no,
on the murder house that
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not in Louisiana. I think it's in. Oh my God, I forgot the name of the uh, of the place. I think you went there on vacation. Was it where you do Mardi Gras? I think that's where they recorded that album, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I like Heresy. I love songs like I like Eraser. I think obviously Hurt is a great track that a lot of people then discovered that track because of the uh, the country singer
Johnny Cash, yeah.
Johnny Cash did the cover,
Yeah.
but I like the original better. Some people say that they like Johnny Cash version better, but I don't.
I like both because they're different. And when Johnny Cash first recorded the song, Trent Reznor said, "This song is not mine anymore. This is Johnny Cash's
Yeah.
song." But years later, he starts singing it again, and it's the way he always ends his concert with that song.
Yeah, this is a hot take, but I'm not a huge Johnny Cash fan, so maybe that's why. I've never got into him. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, and obviously, I think another song that I think the starting song, "Mr. Self Destruct," is really good, and it starts like really abrasive. Like with somebody. It sounds like someone's hitting someone. So I remember like whoa, like being like when I first listened to that, and then it goes into Piggy, which is like just the opposite. It's like, hey, little Piggy, like so chill after like Mr. Self Destruct. So yeah, it's I like the concept of the album because it's someone going into like when I was reading like a deep like depression,
Downward
into drug
Spiral.
abuse, like downward spiral, and it feels like in the song. So
What
yeah,
what about JC?
I think like this album has like one of the best like opening like 5 tracks. Like the first 5 songs are great. Like Mr. Self-Destruct, just great, it's great heavy, and then Piggy, where it gets like really mellow, then Heresy, that's a really good song when Trent Reznor like screams the chorus. March of the Pigs, that's a really good one with like the like, intro, and Closer, that's one of the most popular tracks, with the lyrics. I think they were controversial with that, but just has a really great start. but I think as far as deep cuts, I like Big Man with a Gun. I think that one has some pretty cool like heavy parts, and like the
But
vocals, like the distorted vocals are really good.
yeah, that
I
song
like
had
you.
controversy too.
Yes, yeah. I think I was reading some controversy with that. I think with the something like the right wing or something.
Yep.
Eraser, that's a really great one. It has that was really like catchy. I think like with the chorus, that one. And the last song, Hurt. I think that was like the first song I like. I think probably the reason I bought this album, because that was one of the songs I learned to play on the guitar back
Nice.
in 1994. I used to buy these like magazines that had like the the guitar music, the tabs, and that was one of them. So I remember I used to like learn. I learned to play Hurt on the guitar. So that's a really good song. I think Hurt really ends the album really well, because it's like every song like go from one to the other. It's like something else, and then at the end it's like this like soft and just quiet emotional song that just like kind of like just like wraps up the whole album. So I think that's a really great how they placed the songs. I think that they did a really good job on that. So yeah, those are my songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you all mentioned almost all the songs. This is an album I love from start to finish. I never skip a song.
Mhm.
With the vinyl, I have a joke. Was one of the first vinyls we bought when we started our record collection, my husband and I. And he got confused, and he put the second disc. And I told him, like, baby, that's too abrasive. Like, we need the foreplay from the first songs, and then it starts with Mr. Self Destruct, and he's like, okay, that's the foreplay. Like, I love that it starts like that, and then it goes to like Hey Piggy. Like JC said, the first five songs are great from, and this is an album I'll listen from start to finish, in order, no skip, no anything.
Yeah, and your husband got afraid of you.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, this is the foreplay, the Mr. Self Destruct, Heresy, Closer.
Yeah.
But it's a great album, and I would like to ask you guys, in like, we know it, this is a great album, it still holds up. Why would you recommend this to a person that have never listened to this album, that have never listened to Downward Spiral, to Nine Inch Nails?
Yes, that's a good one. So I think if you are getting into Nine Inch Nails, I think the Downward Spiral is a great record to start. I remember like a month and a half ago or 2 months, we had this discussion. We did an Is It That Bad episode with Mary's Tasty Music. Shout out to Mary's Tasty Music. She loves Nine Inch Nails, is her favorite band, and we picked the slip, I believe we picked, and we were talking about like which album would have been like a starting point. And I think, even though Pretty Hate Machine is pretty cool, I think to this day, I mean, the Downward Spiral is Trent Reznor's masterpiece, in my opinion. This is an album that to me has no skippable tracks, and I think I enjoy this album more now as an adult than when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, I was just like, "Ooh, it's dirty. He's saying I want to fuck you like an animal." But when I read like the concept of it, I'm like, "This is a very deep record." Like,
Very dark and
I
deep.
dark and deep, and I like how he uses like electronics in a way that was very innovative at the time, and also like he doesn't use it as a crutch, like for like how he could go from like soft to slow, and every song was different. And Hurt ends with that distortion where he says, "I will find a way," and then the da, So
Yep.
I think if you're a fan of industrial metal, and even if you're not a metal fan, I think Nine Inch Nails has that crossover appeal because you can understand what Trent is singing. And so I think it's a music that can appeal to different type of people, not just people who like rock and metal. So and almost all their albums have an element of, it sounds like a score to a movie, and go figure, because now he scores movies. So that's what I would say, to listen to the Downward Spiral, because it's a timeless record. It doesn't matter what genre.
What about you, JC?
Yeah, I say it's probably the best album. I would say for a new person, I don't know if I would recommend this
To start?
or pretty or I might recommend Pretty Hate Machine first, only because I think it's a little more accessible. It depends. I think if you're a metalhead, I think this would be a good place to start. But I think an average listener, I might recommend Pretty
Pretty.
Hate Machine. But I think with this album, one thing I noticed, because I haven't listened to it in a long time, and then when I went back to listen to it, I actually listened to it, I think maybe 2 or 3 times these past couple of days. And I usually listen to on speakers, and it was good. And then I listened to it with headphones, and I thought it was with the headphones, I thought it was a completely different experience. So I would say put on this album, put on some of those like big headphones, and just like sit alone in a dark room or someplace comfortable, and just like listen to like everything what's going on, because it's electronic music. But back in 1994, they didn't have all these like advanced like Pro Tools on the computers, and you couldn't just, okay, you don't just tell the AI, okay, write me now. No, I mean they had to, create things more like organically. And I think that's why this is really a great album, because back then in 1994, they didn't have like the ease of all like these, computer programs. So I definitely recommend this. I recommend it with headphones. I think that's an important aspect of it. And just listen to it start to finish. If you if you have the album, if you have like a physical copy, I think it's probably also good to like read the lyrics as you listen along. And I think that's like just to get like the whole experience of what this album is, just like from start to finish, the whole concept and everything.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
Um, I have to listen to it on headphones. I think
Yeah.
I haven't listened to this album with headphones like in a long time, a few years.
And
Uh,
maybe some scented candles from Bed Bath and Beyond.
and
Yeah.
but I remember like years ago, like listening to the album and reading the lyrics and like getting more and more into the story and the concept and everything. I think it's a great experience. Listen to it with the headphones and the lyrics. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me and celebrating this album. Uh, and people, if you haven't subscribed to my friends, JC and Rock and Metal Reviews and the Shield Dude and a Couch, what are you waiting for? Go ahead. JC has a lot of content like reviews, ranking. He gives you a history with his reviews and everything. And Hector, the Shield Dude, he has a lot of interviews, also reviews. Uh, his famous series, Is It That Bad? um, and I know we'll be doing more collaborations. So thank you.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
if you haven't subscribed to me, I'm working with new content, new collaborations, more reviews. I'll have something new soon with another person, so stay tuned. And I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.